Hello and welcome to Rose Talks, a podcast brought to you by The Rose Company and hosted by Jose Canseco. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Rose Talks, your theatre podcast, and today I'm really excited to have Satkirti with us. Say hello, Satkirti.
Hi guys, hi Jose. It's good to see you after a long time.
I know. It's been how many years? More than 3 years?
It's like 3 years. We did a show together in 2017.
Yeah, remember that. Oh my God. And it was one of the last projects I did at Royal Holloway as well.
Yeah, it was an interesting one with the amalgamation of different culture. And so we can talk about this when we start talking. It was really interesting project that we did.
That's great. Then, why don't you introduce yourself or anyone here who doesn't know what you do?
That's great. So, Jose, as you know, I did my master's from Holloway, and my master's topic, what happened that, let's start from beginning. I did my undergraduate from petroleum engineering. I was always in theater as a practitioner. From like 2010, I've been performing and directing shows in different parts of India, in US and in UK. With like concept in subcontinent, basically not in India that either you have to become engineer or a doctor. So it was like that. So I didn't have that much option. So before pursuing my master's, at that time, I only knew that theater means you just have to be a practitioner. I didn't know that there is a research part also. Mm-hmm. So when I completed my undergraduate, I got to know that there is research part also. I started working over a folk theater. And during my master's in Royal Holloway, I got to know that there is a diaspora community also who perform the same folk theatre in UK, Caribbean islands, Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica. So what happened? These diaspora community has migrated from India around 1840. And their next generations are performing this style on which I am doing research. At that time, I didn't know when I started my master. And this research is basically, it's a folk theater form. What happened in folk theater that these artists, this style is called Videsya. And Videsya means someone who has migrated and never came back. So they used to present the story of diaspora community who during the British era, during the colonial period in India, were forced to migrate from India to Caribbean islands. And then from Caribbean islands, they migrated to UK. So they used to perform their story, that what were the situation, how they were forced to migrate. And with the angle of caste, in India, caste play a very important role, like untouchables. Those were the untouchables people, those who were forced to migrate during the British era. And with the gender discrimination. So these society issues were used to raise through this style. Mm-hmm. And it was not a proper grammatical theater. It was a folk theater which you can perform under a tree also. So over this, I started researching. And in Royal Holloway, I was just going through the cultural history of this style. And in Royal Holloway, I got to know that there is a diaspora research perspective over this style. Like transcultural research over which I can do research. And that's what I have started doing in my PhD. I'm trying to build a connection, build a bridge between diaspora community and those artists who are performing in India, those marginalized artists. So it's going good. But with the COVID situation, as you know, my PhD has been delayed, and the performance as these artists in India are from marginalized areas. So they don't have any digital like backgrounds which popular culture right now can use. Mm-hmm. So they don't have like mobiles, and they are living in very rural parts area. So they can't afford the internet connection. So it becomes much more tough for folk artists during the COVID period. Oh. And that you can literally you can see the discrimination between a popular culture and folk theater during this period, that how folk artists are not even able to survive, and even popular culture is facing problem with the COVID, but at last they have digital medium to survive. But these folk artists even don't have that thing. So this is the situation, and this is my background.
Yeah, no, thank you for pointing that out. There are different cultures or different like folk performances that are not being able to actually share their performance, their art to other people because they don't have the technology to do so. So something to really interesting to take into consideration. But before COVID, do you do any work with folk performances, diaspora culture in the UK?
Yeah, in UK, I was trying to build a network of my during my masters, because by the end of my masters, I got to know that there is a like transnational research over this theater form over which I am doing research. Before, when I started doing my masters, I already knew that I am doing research over a Bidesiya style, which is a folk style. And during my master, I have to go through the cultural history. When I started writing dissertation, I got to know that, okay, even in UK, a very small community is performing this style. This is a cross-dressing dance along with a performance. What happened? Like you and I are talking, and this become a performance in folk style. They don't need any stage. We are just talking about the problems which you are facing, which I am facing as a marginalized community, as a minority community, and how we can help each other. And this become a performance. So it become important for diaspora and many diaspora communities, those which belonging from the east part of India, are performing Videsiya outside India. Even in India, these folk style are not being valued with the coming of populist government around the world, as you can see with US, UK, even in India with the nationalist government and the mindset of like that popular culture has more morality than folk culture. So there is a biasness toward folk culture. And this style is not being valued in India, and outside India, it's been more valued by the diaspora community, as it's give them a hope to connect with a small group of people whom they could share their pain and whom a cultural identity is being related to each other.
This is really cool. I actually have a question. So, in your practice, have you developed any action plan to make folk culture in India more out so that people can see it?
It's a long-term goal, and it's quite tough one. As I told, with the mindset of with the caste hierarchy in India within the Indian system, it's like there are 4 caste system in India, and the lowest one, which is termed as Dalit or untouchables, they are being marginalized. And these folk styles are mostly performed by these marginalized groups. And elite caste don't see these style as a culture. And it's not elite caste. Even the colonials, when used to live in India, this was the mindset of colonial, which was being, it was the mindset of elite caste only, but the colonials also give them like their thumbs up regarding this thing. Okay, the elite caste are doing good thing. The folk culture could never match what is performance art, what is popular culture. They started denigrating this style. So it's tough that I could say that as an individual, I can make folk culture in India as a big thing. But I'm trying my best. And the first step which I'm trying is mobilizing these artists. So I can't say right now that I would be able to come up with making folk culture a very big style, because for last 100 years and for last 1,000 years, these people are being marginalized. And this style, folk style, basically has been suppressed. So as an individual, I can't change what has been going on, but I'm trying my best to make these artists globalize and create an intercultural community where these artists can perform with other people and showcase their talent.
Well, certainly a very difficult task to do, isn't it? It's very ambitious, but I'm glad that you're still trying hard to make something happen right there. And how do the diaspora people in other countries are sharing this culture?
For them, what happened, like as Dwight Conquered said, that for diaspora, art is very important part, because they are like a minority community there, and they need something to interact with each other. Even sometime what happened when these people from India were forced to migrate to Caribbean islands during 1840, and after that they didn't have any option. They were working as a slaves there in the sugarcane factory. So even those people who used to fight in India over the caste issue, over the gender issue, when they migrated to Caribbean island, they become one community because they knew that, okay, we are only 100 people here and we are going to help each other. So a bonding becomes more strong when you go outside from a particular region, even if you are fighting. And to make that bonding stronger, this folk culture plays a very important part. Mm-hmm. Not only I'm talking about this folk style over which I am working. Even you can see in UK, Irish dance. Those Irish which have been migrated to UK are still performing Irish dance to create a strong community of Irish in London or you can say in England. So the folk style gives them an opportunity to build a community of cultural identity which they can depend on if the other community is not going to help, like what's going on with Black Lives Matter. So there is a strong bond between Black community and people are coming to help, but there needs to be a strong bond within the community also. Mm-hmm. They know that people will come, people will support, like you and me are supporting this cause, but a strong bond is needed within the community also. So this folk culture helps to bring the community members close. And by bringing interculturalism in theater, we also try to bring other community also to close us. Mm-hmm. This is the thing which as a researcher, I am also trying. So not only like what happened sometime while creating a mobilization of one community with the help of theater, that theater remain a part of that community only. Other people could not come into that. Mm-hmm. And that also become a problem, which in social capital has been mentioned that by just creating a mobilization of one community, you are isolating other community. So we don't want that thing. We also want other people to come and join us and build a strong bond with outside world also.
And is that what interculturalism is? Or could you define the concept? Yeah.
Interculturalism is like what happened, as I told you, social capital. Social capital theory says that in theater or in different part also, the mobilization of a community, when a marginalized community or minority community is being suppressed, so you need to first create a cultural identity within a community so that your community members could help you to grow up socially, economically. But the demerit of social capital is that you isolate other people. So we don't want to isolate other also, because as a minority, you also need other people help. Like in, as I mentioned about Black Lives Matter. In that, even white people are are coming in support of Black Life. Even Asians are coming in support of Black Lives Matter movement. So you don't want other peoples to go out. So what happened? We brings interculturalism. There are pros and cons of interculturalism also in theater. Interculturalism means you are building a bigger community. But what happens sometimes, like folk style become a commodity. What Western countries take folk style of different countries and they started selling them. That becomes a problem in theater. Mm-hmm. That because somebody is not that advanced on technological level or in a digital world or does not have that option to form in outside India. So what happened? Many westernized scholars, they used to research over this style and they used to perform this style and they popularized this theater, but those artists still remain in a suppressed condition. So it become a commodity. That's also a problem. So what I am trying through my research that nor I am selling it as a commodity, nor I am just making it for a single community. I am also bringing interculturalism. By bringing interculturalism, I am trying to bring different communities also. But the bond within the community, I am not trying to break. This style will remain the part of these suppressed community members. But by bringing different style, as we did our project in 2017, there were different concepts. But the idea was to present my research also. Mm-hmm. So I didn't offer this thing to other people. The idea was to present, okay, this is a style which is being suppressed. We could bring different angles, but these artists need to be credited because this is their style. Mm-hmm. And this is their community style. So interculturalism play an important role to, like, for marginalized communities play a very important role to showcase their talent and to build a strong community with outside world, in particular in performance art.
Yeah. Well, you were saying just a few seconds ago about creating an intercultural community to bring everyone together, but without any hierarchies. Is that what you were saying? So no one being better than the other.
Without any hierarchy and without taking others' credit. Yeah. It's like we are welcoming everyone, but this style belongs to someone who has been marginalized in other part of the world, and they need to take that credit. You are most welcome to join their achievement, to help them to globalize this culture, but at least take them the front stage, because they are already being suppressed, and this is their style, which is they are trying to globalize.
Yeah, I remember reading in a book. I owe it to everyone because I actually cannot remember it at the moment. Really interesting. I might put it in the description later today. But this researcher said that there were a lot of people, theater practitioners, that would go to communities, and this is related to community theater, applied theater, and they would mine the culture out. So, talking about industries going to small communities to mine the resources out. So this time it would be culture they would bring into big cities or big communities, and they would present something there rather than actually bringing that community, building it for them, with them, and for their own benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What are they doing? Like, they are creating a fusion and performing. The same folk culture is being presented at popular culture. They are putting out the stories, and they are bringing different light. They are bringing sounds. They are presenting it as a commodity. They are selling it. Which folk culture, and even folk artists still don't know. Even the people among which I'm doing research or I'm helping them, they still don't know much about the digital world, because in a rural part they are doing, and for like one show they are earning around $20, and it's a member of 5 groups, and they are still performing in the rural areas only. And most of them even don't know that exists their diaspora community who are performing outside India, and even those are performing in a very small community. But the difference is that diaspora community is performing not for money. They are performing just to remain close to their culture. But what is happening in India, they are performing for their survival. That's the difference.
So Satkirti, what do you think about then interculturalism? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
As I told you, Jose, there are pros and cons. Sometimes I even find interculturalism problem issues. Like if you take the example of Peter Brook has worked over the Mahabharata and is presented in the Western world. There were many scholars who have written that Peter Brook has westernized our culture, Indian culture. But I don't find any issue when Peter Brook's work over Mahabharata. He is just globalizing the culture. And it's a global world. People are taking another culture from different parts of the world. And this is the way a globalized country works. You can't force anyone, or you can't stop anyone. Then it's again, you are going back in the centuries where you don't want to live. People are like developing. So I don't have find in some issues I find interculturalism wrong when a Western countries come to a third world countries and take the work of suppressed community. Okay, if you are collaborating with them, at least give them credit, because that is their culture over which they are surviving. Mm-hmm. So don't take their credit. If you are making fusion, even if you are amalgamating with other culture and doing some sort of fusion, at least give those people credit or bring them on a global stage, which they are not coming. I don't have any issues with interculturalism because it's a world of globalization. But you do win interculturalism, and especially when you work over the culture of someone who is already being suppressed in a country and is marginalized. So at least give them credit. It's my view of interculturalism.
Yeah, very, very important points in there. And I think everyone should research a little bit more about what interculturalism is. And also, if you want to, you can also check out the Peter Brook issue with the Mahabharata as well.
Yeah, so, Peter Brook's Mahabharata is really good. You can find it on YouTube. And I can send some links of the books also, which are mentioning both pros and cons of interculturalism.
This is really cool. And is the government doing anything to support the development and the sharing of this?
Folk culture, as mentioned by many scholars have mentioned that folk culture from the modern education has been vanished. They don't even talk about folk culture. There are folk culture. I wouldn't say that government is not helping. For folk culture, government is helping. But even in that, the caste hierarchy comes. Okay, if you are from the folk culture, which belongs from the elite caste, from the upper caste, who have little bit social mobilization, will get values. The folk culture, which is not from elite class, as on which I am working, don't get that value. So even though government or the people don't come, yeah, if it get popularized, if people get to know, okay, now it has value, and if we spend some financial help, then both country and culture will get flourish. So I think that they will start working over it. But right now, I don't see anything from the government side also.
Very unfortunate. Now, I want to just go back a little bit, just because I forgot to ask you this. But could you describe the concept of diaspora, just for listeners that do not know or are not familiar with the concept?
Diaspora, what happened? There are sometimes happen, sometimes it's forceful migration, and sometimes it's like people like you and me migrate on our own. Nobody forced us. It's like we are migrating for our future. We are migrating for our benefit. And there are some diaspora who were forcefully migrated, over which I am doing research, as I told you. These were the diaspora community who migrated during 1840, when the colonials used to rule India. And they were forced to migrate to different parts, Caribbean islands, Fiji, and then from Caribbean islands to UK to work in a sugarcane plantation. And most of them were untouchables, which were, even in India, they were marginalized. So no people did have any problem if they were forcefully migrated from India.
So diaspora, you say that it's people migrating to different countries.
It's like diaspora, you can say it's like the present day migration culture. But what happened at that time, they didn't have that much connectivity. Once a person go, he's never going to come back to India, or he's never come back to their native country. But now we can move from one place to another. It's a globalized world. At that time, it was not there. Okay. So they needed something to remain close to their culture. And they started doing the same thing in their style. What happened? Like the dance over which I am working, or the culture over which I am working, during my research, few days ago only, I get to know that it's a part of the folk style over which I am working was taken to the Trinidad. It was working on the Trinidad, and the carnival, which used to happen. It was the dance, talking, and different dance steps in carnival were inspired by the folk style, which was taken from India, Bihar to Trinidad. And carnival was inspired from that dance style. So it was an interesting thing to know that, okay, the style over which I am working was first went to Trinidad, then Trinidadian people took inspiration from that dance style and then carnival started. The music took inspiration from those people which were working over this. So it was, when they went to Trinidad, it was the amalgamation of two different cultures. Once the Africans who came from Africa to Trinidad as a slave, and once which Indian went to Trinidad as a slave. So two diaspora community amalgamated their culture and presented the third culture, which at present is known as Caribbean culture, and which is being migrated to different parts of UK, US. It's like that. So it's diaspora. Yeah, it's diaspora which has been transporting their culture from different parts to remain close to their culture.
Yeah. And it ends up adapting, it ends up changing as well.
Wherever they go, they adapt different culture, and a fusion took place in their root culture.
Oh, I see. Great. I don't know if you want to talk about the practice that you do and how you do it, because now you've explained what you do, but how do you do it? How do you approach these people, and how do you support the development of folk performances?
It's like, to be true, Jose, it's like that people are still not ready to, as I told you, like what happened with many folk style, that people come, take their culture and go and started amalgamating other cultures. So now these people are a little bit like, before telling their culture or before showcasing their culture, they are a little bit worried. Either they need like financial safety. Okay, you are going to financially save us if we share our information with you. So it's a tough situation, because with all these things going on, like as I mentioned, with the problems of interculturalism, they are not ready to share. So I'm working, I have a network as a practitioner. I have been working. So I have created my network in India as well as in UK. So what at present I am trying, I'm not working as a practitioner with them. I'm just working as someone who is trying to bring these two communities close to each other. So my role is right now to work as a facilitator. I'm bringing them, and I'm trying to connect them digitally, because it's really tough to bring these artists to UK or to Caribbean island, or to help those diaspora community, because there are many members of diaspora community who never came to India. They are just heard these story from their ancestors, and they are performing this dance style on an oral tradition. So as a practitioner, what I am doing, I'm trying to bring these two community with the help of digital medium. So that was I am trying. And as a director, I recently performed one show in USA. So what I did, I went there and met with diaspora community who are living in San Francisco, and help them to, like, they have already heard about this. They have never performed. So I told about the cultural history. I told them what happened. I helped them to like a construct a play. They already know about this thing, but they didn't know about the cultural history. So my role at that time is to go different places, help the diaspora to build this style again, and connect those diaspora to the local people who are working in India.
Amazing job. Really, really amazing job. And I mean, I've seen that you've been traveling all around the world to make sure this happens too. The USA, UK, India. Oh my God. Literally all over the world. That's great.
Trying my best.
Yeah. Well, this next section is basically for you to give some advice to people who are trying to do the same, perhaps with their own culture or with a different culture than Indian. What would you give them?
One thing I understand while working, that never shy away from your culture. What happened, as I told you, that with the colonial ruling all over the world, an intellectual mindset was created, which the native culture was always denigrated. And those people were given more preferences, or you can say in terms of India, I have seen that elite castes have given more preferences because their theory was matching with colonial mindset. Okay, what colonial didn't like, people used to don't like. You have to not like, because it's immoral or it's obscene. People started seeing in that way, and that's why people stop working over their culture. There are many research areas. If you start working over your own culture, go in and see rural parts of your countries, you will find many different areas which even you are not ready to work over. So I will advise people to don't go with the colonial mindset that, okay, if somebody has said that it is immoral or it is obscene, culture is never immoral, obscene. It's depend on the person view. It's differ from people to people. So if you have that mindset, you will never able to work over something which has been hidden in your own country. Mm-hmm. So never go with that mindset.
Yeah, and I think that not many people are aware that they are under a colonial mindset, because in my experience in Mexico, indigenous people are the lowest of the lowest class. They're mistreated. Their culture, as we were talking about, is taken away from them and monetized. They're not receiving enough resources, enough support, and culturally, Mexico has been really racist in those terms, and it shows with the indigenous population of that.
No, I totally understand with you when you are saying this thing, because I have met many people that still the colonial mindset is going on. If you'll tell that, okay, I'm doing research over this style, they will still see you with those bad eyes. Okay, you are researching on this style despite being like, if you see the hierarchy, then in the country, I don't believe in this, but if you see the hierarchy, I'm at the richer side of the country or in the majority side of the country. So people will see in a different way, okay, you are doing, so you should be also isolated. It's like that. The mindset is that the native colonial mindset. Okay, there is an intellectual way of doing theater. There is a grammar of doing theater. Okay, you have to be in front stage. You have to be in backstage. So that's why they have problem with folk theater, because folk theater you can do under tree also. So it is going against the culture of morality. In folk culture, a man can cross dress as woman and show sexuality. So it's totally against their culture, which they have created, or which colonial or elite castes have created around the world. So it's like that. The colonial mindset needs to be removed to see theater in a different perspective, which needs to be seen.
Yeah. And yeah, as you were saying, it is important that people are aware of that and that they accept their culture, as you were saying. I think you said it better in a better way. Could it be against yourself to be against that?
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know. Do you have any good books about decolonization? Speaking of
decolonization, because mainly I am focusing how the colonial side. I still haven't started that how decolonization. I mostly have the how colonization took place. So I can tell you about the books, the impact of colonization in different parts. There are many books. I can send you the link. Right now I can't remember, but there are many books. I could send you the link and you can post along when. Yeah, those Definitely. Are some really good books regarding folk culture, especially if someone is interested in South Asian culture. So I can send you the links of those books.
Yeah, and we will post those in the description for everyone to check out. Okay, Satkirti, well, this is the end of the podcast now. Yes, we ran out of time, but I don't know if you have any last things that you want to say to our listeners.
It was really good to catch you, Jose, and let's hope that everything goes fast and we can start our life again.
Definitely, or at least with a new normal, as people have been calling it, a new normal.
Seriously,
where everyone's just less reckless, I suppose. But thank you so much for accepting this invitation. As you say, it's been a while, and thank you everyone who's listening right now. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jose, for inviting me, and all the best for your show.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you really liked our content, then make sure that you rate and subscribe. You can find us on social media at RoseComp Theatre on Instagram and Facebook. And also make sure that you check out our website, theroseproductions.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.